All right, everyone, today is the day. Ron DeSantis is set to announce whether he's going to do the presidential campaign thing or open an exploratory committee, or whether he's standing down. The smart money generally is being placed on him announcing a campaign. That would be better than announcing an exploratory committee and being non-committal. That would cripple his political credibility with many of his own fans. If he's going to go in, just get in. It would be a terrible idea. By the way, this is a great victory the way in which he's doing it. That would be the ultimate fumble in modern political history. If he just announces, that's perfectly fine. I've made it clear that I'm going to be voting for Trump. But I do have to admire Ron DeSantis, the methodology by which he's apparently presumptively jumping into the race. He's going to do it live on Twitter talking to Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk, and this is probably a tip-off that he's running, Elon Musk has expressed support for him, it's ironic because Trump, the mean tweeter, is actually being outmaneuvered by Ron DeSantis on this one. In full admission, this is getting a huge amount of news hype, and by the way, re-triggering all of the hit piece articles by The Atlantic and Politico and all the others about how Twitter is a right-wing network filled with conspiracy theories, unverifiable facts, harassment, abuse, and trolling. Which is actually not the case. I participate in community notes. There is an actual democratized effort to fix actual disinfo. I find that a very large proportion of it, and I am not the only one that uses community notes to look into this, is coming from the legacy media. As a lot of times their tweets omit relevant details. That's something, you need additional context. They contain factual errors. They contain outright propaganda in some cases, especially for economic news. Elon Musk has designed the only system on a mainline platform, on a big tech platform, that actually seeks to address this in a reasonable manner, as opposed to having politically motivated hatchet jobbers at PolitiFact or something doing the fact checking. Well, oftentimes we find that those fact checks are irrelevant, or that they misconstrue material and they effectively strawman whatever they're fact checking. So, DeSantis being on Twitter to launch this is a good idea. Although there's always the possibility of a technical glitch. Twitter Spaces has a few issues intermittently. That would be, by the way, hilarious if that happens. It'd be funny if Elon Musk like, actually I'm on board with Biden now, so you know what? I'm going to get DeSantis on here, and then I'm going to screw with his announcement just for shits and giggles. We're probably going to say there will be a lot of people paying attention to this. I still suspect that Trump is going to run away with the nomination. His lead has increased to the point where it's almost 40 points over DeSantis. And DeSantis may rise a bit after his announcement, but I don't think he can make up that big a difference. And with Trump draining oxygen from him by refusing presumptively to debate, which means that the debates won't be viewed by many people, I think the writing is on the wall for the most part. And I'm fine with that because I support Trump. But let's give DeSantis some credit here for really messing with the censorious legacy media, which doesn't like him, genuinely. While I think sometimes they give him added negative attention because they hate Trump more and want to starve him of attention, so they fixate on the only other viable person in the race. Hell, they make hit stories against Nikki Haley. It's like, don't bother. You're kicking a literal rotting dead horse at that point. Nikki Haley's not going anywhere. By the way, neither is Tim Cotton. Neither is Asa Hutchinson. Larry Elder never gets mentioned anymore. Vivek Ramaswamy is probably going to end up coming in third place in the race if DeSantis gets in. And that's the other thing. There's always the off chance DeSantis decides he's not going to run. He says, well, I'm doing a good job as governor, and here's point A, B, C, D, and E of how great I'm doing. By the way, I'm running for the Senate next term or something. That's possible. It's not likely. I think that DeSantis probably will end up running. He'll come in a fairly strong second place. He'll have some delegates from the race, assuming that more than a handful of states actually hold a primary, considering that there's a technical incumbent who's 40 points ahead. And things could change. I just don't think you're going to see a last-minute shift in things like, in a few elections in U.S. history. Somebody has come from way behind, and then all of a sudden they soar up right at the end and they end up securing a nomination. Sometimes they go on to get elected. There are only a few cases of this happening, and they're apples to oranges to the current political situation. Trump, you see, it has a core fan base. Some of these other individuals were basically hold-your-nose candidates with no core fans. that got outmaneuvered by a young charismatic. You'd think of Obama v. Hillary. Obama technically did lose. He had fewer delegates. At the end, they decided to nominate him anyway because they figured he was more electable. They were, by the way, completely right at the time. So he's set to announce literally later today. Of course, that depends on what time zone you're in. If you're on the Pacific Coast, you have to wait a whole other day. Some of us have other side of the dateline privilege, I suppose. East Coasters represent. They're the ones most likely to be asleep at this hour, by the way. So I am looking forward to seeing how he announces. What I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. And I'll probably analyze it tomorrow in live stream or standalone form, maybe both. Since I'm not going to be supporting DeSantis' run, I'm going to be supporting Trump, I'm going to put aside my bias and just try to analyze it. How effective is it? So he's going on Twitter to do it. That's got everyone riled up, which means that he gets more viewership for it than if he went on CNN or something like that. He just holds a presser and expects the legacy media to report on it. Most of them will say, oh, here's this evil sub-Nazi, the Untersturmführer or something, the Orange Man worst, but here's this dude, he should dye his skin a little bit because he's looking orange as well. They're not going to cover it fairly anyway, so I might as well take it straight to the people. Twitter is a good place to do that. Although, why don't you multi-stream? I don't know if you can do that if you're doing Twitter Spaces. I mean, I can live stream on Twitter. I don't know if I could. I don't even know how Twitter Spaces works, actually. I've never tried to use it. So I'm a little bit of a loss on that one. You should also probably be live. It would be funnier if he did it on Rumble, which Trump literally, through Truth Social, is tied with Rumble partially. Which is a better deal for Rumble than for Truth Social, by the way. They're actually growing. Trump needs to get back on Twitter, by the way. That would be my final thing. He needs to get back on Twitter. If he were to do it today, he would drain 50% of the thunder from DeSantis. All he would have to do is make a tweet during the live Twitter Spaces, by the way. All hell breaks loose politically then. I urge Donald Trump to do that. It doesn't matter if you're in breach of some contract with Truth Social. You're already in breach of a million other things right now. The walls are closing in as far as them trying to drain you of money. Gene Carroll and the fucking Manhattan DA case. It's clear they're going to weaponize the legal system against you anyway. You're already going to be partially hamstrung by that fact. Why not just choose this glorious moment to return to Twitter? It would be absolutely spectacular. He'd say, lol at Twitter Spaces, ha ha ha. Or say, DeSanctimonious is live right now. Here's a link to something more interesting, and it's a Rickroll or something. That would be classic Trump, so, I mean, we got to keep an eye on him during the speech, too, just to see if he becomes less inert on mainline media. It'd be hilarious. I hope it happens, but it's not likely. Unfortunately, that A+ tier meme-worthy troll moment probably won't happen. And it makes me sad. I wish I lived in the timeline where it was more likely. That's about all. Peace out.